Well, hello again, and I am back on an auspicious day. It is the book launch party of The Path of Awakening. Did you get your copy yet? Of course, yours won't have this silly thing. That's my proof copy. And I'm Gloria Coppola from Powerful Potential and Purpose Publishing, and I have another special guest with me today, sitting right over here, Jen Cairo, to talk about her story in Empaths Awakening. But first, come on and say hello, okay? And give Jen some love and tell us you're here. And if you're an empath, let us know. And if you have questions, then tell us, okay? So I am also a natural empath, just like Jen, and we're going to have a fun conversation today about her story, An Empath's Awakening, in our number one best-selling book. Yes, it already went number one best-selling. That is how you know we are divinely guided and protected by angels and all the goodness out there that is helping these authors get their messages out. Thank you for sharing, Jen. And Sam, I got to tell you, Sam sent me a message on our fan page and said that he has been sharing the book link and sharing these videos with thousands of people in his groups. Thank you so much. It's people like you, Sam, that have helped this book go to number one bestseller literally overnight. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Oh, sorry. I saw Sam, so I wasn't sure. Okay. Sam's a she. Okay. Thank you. So thanks for clarifying that. Samantha, right? Okay. So Jen, I'm so excited to have you here today. And I know you've been really excited, bubbling all over. So thanks for coming on live.
Thanks for having me. This is a big day. Yes, I'm very excited.
And this is your first time being a published author, huh?
Yes, it is. Not the last, but it's the first. Yes.
I know you have future plans. I'm excited about those too. So Jen, wow. I remember meeting you in Delaware in person, where you were excited to tell your story. Did you ever imagine the process of telling it, like what that was going to be like and how it helped you go on your own healing journey?
No, I had no idea what to expect. And never thought, like I told you, that I would be sitting here today. Not much experience with writing. My mother was an author. She did writing for school and college papers. But I knew I had a lot to say, and something just drew me to you, and I felt like I needed to share it. And it's been amazing ever since.
Well, I'm glad something drew you to me because you have an amazing story. It was fun working with you on the story and crafting it. And did you learn anything from that process?
Oh, a lot. Yes, a lot. And, I've learned how to take constructive criticism well. It is a process, and it is truly, piecing it together with people that know writing. And, when you think you know something, there's always something else to know and something else to learn. So I did learn a lot about writing and my style of writing and the whole process of putting something together to be published. Yes.
Yeah, and storytelling takes a special gift because
It
you can
does.
write facts, which a lot of people do. And Deb Finley says, "Congratulations."
Thanks,
That's
Deb.
yours. But storytelling is different,
Mhm.
because people come in very factual. But getting that art of storytelling is something I love to do. But I'm glad you brought up accepting the feedback, okay?
Mhm.
Because highly sensitive beings, I know what that feels like
It
too.
was hard. It was hard
Oh
to
my
take
God.
that sometimes.
It,
My feelings got hurt a lot, and
I
I had
bet.
to step out and let that ego go and let you guide me there. And, and that was a process. And, I
Mhm.
really appreciated learning that and how to take that. Because
Well,
that itself is a learning quality.
oh my God, yes. Oh my
Mhm.
God. For those of you listening, I've been writing for 40 years. Jen kind of knows that. And I remember the first time somebody giving me critical feedback. I used to do a lot of writing for a featured magazine, and they had me do a longer, instead of just a little story, they had me do like a feature thing, and it was pages. And I was so proud of it, Jen. I thought it was great until the editor came in and, like, marked all these things up. And
Yeah, that's how I was.
yeah, and part of it was ego, and part of it was being so sensitive to feelings, which we're going to talk about today. So thank all of you for coming on. Here they come. And Maureen, one of our authors that's going to be sharing today, she's
Thanks, Maureen.
taking that on. Yes, and Sam says, turning your thoughts to words that touch others. Yes, yes. And it's not always the easiest process. So Jen, I'm glad that you stuck it out. Thank you.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about your story and Empath's Awakening. You write in your story that the universe was teaching you more than you could imagine. What does that mean?
Well, as a child, you don't know, what it is that you're taking in and the feelings, that you're feeling, so my young mind wasn't ready to accept that, that I was an empath. I didn't even know what that was. I just knew that I was sensitive and deep and, um, I loved being alone and, I was shy and I got hurt feelings easy and I didn't know where to put all that, and I didn't till much later in life realize what I was. And, that's difficult as growing up like that and not having those answers or reason.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but a lot of people that I've talked to that share similar stories, they didn't have family support that understood it necessarily. I was fortunate that my mother did, and she was also highly intuitive. So I had that a little bit, but everybody else thought I was crazy.
It's funny. Well, they just thought, I mean, my family was always supportive and very loving of me, but just thought I was a quiet, shy kid. And, but again, like, I speak about in the book, other kids didn't think that, they thought I was weird and odd, which led to a lot of bullying and being picked on. I had close friends that understood me and turned out to be very similar to me. A childhood best friend is very similar to me to this day. But, growing up and being the odd kid, was very difficult. So I was quite content just staying home with my family and being alone and, playing by myself and, being involved in art and music. And, those are the things that got me through back then.
So Samantha has a great question, and I was actually going to ask you this too, because not everybody knows what an empath is. So she's asking, what is considered an empath? How would you describe it?
Well, it's someone that takes on the feelings or feels the feelings of other people without words being spoken. Walking into a room and sensing tension or sensing, you don't even have to be in their presence. Like sometimes you just feel, if a best friend or a family member is struggling, you feel that. Being or walking into a supermarket, like I can almost pick the people out that are having not so good days or have gone through something. You just feel it almost radiates off them. And sometimes it's so strong you can physically feel the upset, whether it be, nauseous or headache, but you get that feeling from people. And again, word spoken.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just from people. There's actually, I think it's 6 or 7 types of empaths. Mm-hmm. So people are very sensitive, and I know you are as well, to animals. They are animal empaths. Mm-hmm. Some people feel it in the earth. And that's also one of the ways that I take it in. Like, things are going to happen before they happen. Like, let's say like an earthquake or something, like you just know that something's going on. So there's all these different types of empaths. And and a lot of people don't even know that's what it's called. So thank you, Sam, for bringing that question up. And a lot of people don't understand, like Jen's talking about, that hyper alert sensitivity. And I know, Jen, you're in my empath community. So many people, and you have a group as well, they don't understand why they're depressed, why they're confused, why they even have symptoms that aren't theirs, like physical. Right. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, yeah, it causes a lot of anxiety. And actually in my, early teens, I suffered terribly with anxiety because I believe, from a childhood filled with these feelings, emotions that I had no place to put them. By the time I got to that age where hormones are going and everything else, then the anxiety, the depression, that all set in and that continued through my young adult life because you don't know how to process things. You don't know how to talk it out or where to put it. So yes, a lot of people that, are empaths experience, sometimes lifetimes of debilitating depression and anxiety, because they don't know where to put this.
Yeah. And I know sometimes, I know I've heard it, and maybe you have, I know the people, they will tell you you're overly emotional, you're overly sensitive, or it's your imagination. Have you heard those?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah, too sensitive is, because you get hurt feelings. Somebody might say something that but you really take it in and you process it and you try to own that. But, a lot of times, it's not meant in that way, but empaths take things so much, so deeply and feel things. And like you said, with animals, if you see an animal on the side of the road, locked up in a pen, you can almost feel that dog's emotion, and, I do feel animals a lot and
Yeah.
connect to that. And, that led me to being involved in rescue, trying to help that and trying to place them into loving homes. That's
Yeah.
all part of that. And, and that has been since a young child as well.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Maureen has a question, and I know this has been coming up a lot in our empath groups as well. In times like right now, what do you do to manage these feelings coming at you?
Mm.
So some people out there, besides being exposed to obviously the media, whether it's on social media or TV or whatever, they're getting so many mixed feelings and
Yeah.
messages out there. And what advice can you give? I know what I do. We'll talk about that in a minute, but what advice can you give to people that are, feeling super, super anxious about all
Turn
this?
off the TV. I mean, the news is a major trigger. The TV is a major trigger for empaths and sensitive because you have all these things coming at you that, find your quiet, find your time. Meditate has become, number one up on the list of things to do. And getting outside in nature. I love the beach, as you know, and I can't really get there right now. So the next best thing is the woods. Take a hike, take a walk, just appreciate the beauty of nature and take yourself out of this craziness for a while and find your center again. And,
Mm-hmm.
but again, staying away from all those negative outlets,
You
the
got to.
media, you
Mhm.
got to stay away from that.
Yeah. Whatever negativity is, whether it's a
Yeah.
situation thing of our times, whether it's relationships in our personal lives, whatever it is, you've got to remove yourself. You don't have to absorb it all. And you even talk about in your story, nature became your healer and
Yes.
your spiritual place. And right now, so many people, because they think about this social isolation, they're afraid to even go out. So you brought up meditation, but things like even a salt bath soak, because salt's
Mhm.
out the energetic vibrations, lighting a candle and doing a
I was
meditation.
gonna just say that. Yes, scent, whether it be incense or sage, scent can take you out of that negative. Anything that takes your mind out of that negative would be of benefit right now.
So Sam has a great question. She said, did or does this cause one to make choices not always in your own best interest, but give up self to be for others? Oh yeah, you do give yourself up sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, you give too much of yourself, and that, is boundaries, setting your boundaries. Because when you're empathic, people sense that and they always want to talk to you and, tell you the problems, which is great. It's a great gift to be trusted by somebody, to, guide them and help them. But sometimes that becomes too much, and you have to set your boundaries. And, that's, learning
Absolutely.
that it's okay to say no, or it's okay to not answer the phone and just
Oh God, that's a big one.
yeah, to turn it off and just, you need to recharge and you are priority. And, learning to set those
And
boundaries
and
is something that takes time.
Deb is saying, yeah, Deb is saying she's so glad that we're opening up this dialogue because so many people do not understand or know how to protect them. They don't even know what a boundary is, Jen. I mean,
Right.
people, well, what do I do? Like, how do I create a boundary? What does that mean?
Mhm.
But one of the biggest, you mentioned it, learning to say no. And no doesn't mean you're bad. No doesn't mean you don't care. No is very empowering. That two-letter word is
Yeah.
very empowering.
Yes. Yeah. You'll get back to them when you recharge. And, people don't miss a beat. It's okay. They understand, once you set that boundary that, I need my time. And, like every night I have to resort, I have my quiet time. The kids know that I'm on the, I'm reading or I'm meditating or I'm just sitting in silence. And, you have to do that. And people will understand, but it's important for you to nourish yourself, and self care is to set those boundaries.
Yeah. So Sam says yes, but I feel like I bleed since childhood. I didn't have words for this. So
Mhm.
Sam, I'm glad that you're here and you're participating. And between Jen, myself, and Deborah Finley, who's here also as an empath and intuitive, we're here to answer questions for any of you. Okay, and happy to do that. And so creating, that space, number one, is a clear boundary for yourself. Learning to say no just because you got to take care of yourself. And you know, Jen, I find that one of the struggles for many highly sensitive beings is saying no because they have, on some level, unbeknownst to them, even when they're younger, take on that caretaker role, don't
Yeah.
you think?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to help everybody. You want everybody to feel good, but then you realize that, you're, wearing yourself down. And it takes a lot to acknowledge that. And a lot of people feel shame for acknowledging that they're emotionally and spiritually drained. But, taking that and working with it and learning how to recharge,
Hmm.
isn't a selfish act. People feel
Right.
selfish saying no. And, it's not a selfish act to take care of yourself.
No, and since we're talking about this in a time of some really heightened emotions, let's just take it a notch up, okay? If you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about some of the basic things about a highly sensitive being and boundaries, and Jen's got a lot of good suggestions here. But now we're on, and Deborah talked about too about these times being in this heightened anxiety, and we've got a lot of people in heightened anxiety. We got people so confused out there they don't know what to believe. And you talk about in your book that going deeper into your own spiritual path. Okay, I find that and I want you to talk about this during these times. Are you glad that you went deeper and looked into this, and then you
Yes.
find it's helping you discern your own feelings about what is truth and what is not?
I think that if I wouldn't have gone this direction, I would have been an anxiety riddled mess with everything that's going on in the world right now. Um, just learning, to grab hold and trust,
Yes.
trust what the universe has waiting for us. I'm thankful that I am where I am spiritually and emotionally right now to handle all this that's going on. And I think,
Hmm.
that attracts people more to us at this time because they're looking to feel that calm that, we all kind of feel right now. Don't
Yeah,
you
and
think?
I find people are still getting caught up in everybody else's feelings, and
Mhm.
they're dumped on from it everywhere. That they're not trusting their own feelings, and what they're doing is they're going into their head, their linear mind, getting caught up in beliefs, and they're forgetting they have this birthright, this gift.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yep.
We are very strong people. Yes, yes, Deborah, we
Mhm.
are. Yet we're human. We're all human too. So have you found yourself at all getting drained because of this, Jen? And like, oh my God, I'm going to, off my own gift and I need to get back. And what am I going to do to bring myself back into center?
I think everybody, I mean, yes, I have. And, because you see other people so upset. And, when you see people like, going out and going food shopping and you see people in mask and panicked, their eyes just say panic, that really drains me. And that's hard to see. When I go out and I see people like that, or I see the empty store shelves, that like knocks me back a little bit. But then I have to get back up on my center and say, okay, this is okay. Things will work out. This too shall pass. But yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be human if you weren't upset in some way with what's going on. So yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah. So just know, all of you out there that are very highly sensitive and you're feeling even more emotionally charged now, and maybe you didn't even know you were an empath. Maybe you never heard the word before, you didn't understand it. This is a time of great awakening, the
Mhm.
path of awakening. It really is. And I see so many people, even on social media, saying, wake up. Well, this is the waking up to yourself, to your soul journey, to your path, to your birthright gifts. I see it that way. Do you, Jen?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is going to shake people into their awakening. And it has. People are looking for something to hold on to. And I think once they find that, they'll continue. And I think this book coming out is great because it shares all these different stories of people's different journeys. And, people relate to that, to real people talking about real experiences.
It really is. And I want to show you guys too, Jen contributed a piece of her artwork in here and a little dedication to her soul tribe. So our graphic designer, who's going to come on a little while, she really laid this whole thing out so beautiful. We were able to include a few of the artwork, some of the poems that some people, the angel messages, the beautiful mosaic that matches here. But if you're wondering what this spiral is and why that was a choice to put on the cover, then you have to listen to me and Candy coming up in a little while today, and we'll tell you more about that. And Jen, did you know Candy has a story in here?
Yeah, yes, I heard it. I can't wait.
Found it? Yes. So we surprised our readers by putting 2 stories in here, one from me and one from Candy, who is my business partner and the graphic artist, that ties all these stories together. Because like Sam was asking before, how did the authors find us and how did we get these stories and the titles? Trust me, when you are a sensitive being like we are, you align to this frequency and it comes to you. And so even the messages that Candy and I chose to put in this book were messages that came to us. And Jen, do you find like the more that you got involved in learning what the universe was teaching you, connecting with nature, deepening your spirituality, that you're seeing more of this that's awakening for you, more of the signs of where your path is actually leading?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, take, example, this book, I never thought. And then I met you, and then, you encouraged me, and then here I am. So it opens door after door after door, and it's like a domino effect. There's no stopping what you can do when you put your mind to it and you really, you let those gifts work and you let the people help you that want to help you. And, you trust that, you just keep walking forward. And, I just feel all these opportunities coming to me are a blessing. And yeah.
I agree. And you said something there that I find that sometimes empaths, the caregivers of the world, don't always do. And you said, accept the help, ask for the help. And a lot of because we are the caregivers and because we feel so deeply and think that we have to take care of everybody else, we can put ourselves on the bottom of the list and not even ask for help. So besides learning to say no to protect your own boundaries, ask for help. And Jen, David Meltzer, who I met at the World's Greatest Motivators event, because I listened to a message to go there, even though I wanted to go support a friend. I had just come back from a retreat. I didn't have the finances. I had all the excuses that we make, right? But I kept hearing I needed to go. It was one day. It was expensive. I'm like, what are you, crazy? But I went. And doorways, you said doorways open. Well, guess the forward in our book. David Meltzer, who is oh my gosh, he's a philanthropist. He's a CEO of a big sports marketing company. He's an international bestseller. He's a life coach. And he taught me to ask for help. Now, I teach my coaching clients say yes. So, of course, I had to say yes, right? Yep. And then I went and I said to him, I'm going to do something you taught me. I'm going to ask for your help. Would you do a forward in our book? And you guys, it's amazing because we did this at the last minute. We had to pull it together really fast. And he did one on faith and gratitude. And I'll be honest, we didn't have time to read everybody's story, but they're about faith and gratitude as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it fit perfectly.
Fit perfectly. Absolutely. Yep. No coincidence. No, there are synchronicities, and that's when things line up. You know, if you hear me talk about aligning and attracting, that's the synchronicity. It's not just the law of attraction. You have to line up and it becomes a synchronicity. Let's see. Sam has another question. How do you help yourself when you learn maybe instead of being told you have problems, this has been your life's feelings and to stop the drain? I isolated before COVID due to 17 procedures and surgeries and then learned the alone was consoling. Is there a test to know if you're empathetic? Too many in 60 years have said, I have so much empathy.
I'd say you're an empath, Sam. If you're enjoying the quiet time and you almost feel like it's healing. Some people are so afraid to be by themselves. It almost cripples them. But if you go into solitude and you feel at peace and at home and you feel almost, covered and loved and you're being put back together. If you feel comfort and you feel better, then I'm going to say you're an empath. There's no test. I mean, there's signs, the feelings, the overstimulation around crowds, the anxiety. But, Sam, it sounds like you're an empath if you're finding peace being in quarantine. Yes.
Yeah, and I also want to bring up, Sam, we're talking about the quote unquote problems and the physical things that have come up for you, and Deborah sending some hearts. I was just talking to somebody just the other day about something very similar. A lot of us take on the physical symptoms because everything is energy, and we don't have to own that.
Right.
And yet we don't always know how to let it go, how to release it. Okay. It is just too peoply out there. Yeah, it is too peoply.
Too peoply, yes.
And that's another reason why when we are empaths and have so much empathy, it's like we have these antennae all over that you really can't see, but you can feel, right? You can feel it. And those antennae are reaching out to everything and everybody, which is why when Jen is saying it's important to have your time, have your space, go out in nature, you've got to clear it. It's like if you have those Swiffer things.
The dusters, yes.
Right? And it collects all the dust. Well, that's what we collect. We collect that dust, that energy. And so if we don't clear it, we don't cleanse it, if we don't rejuvenate, then it's going to affect us on a health level. It affects us physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Made me physically ill. For many years, I had chronic illness.
Yeah.
And I think that was all those years of holding on to that. Other people's dust. I love that. Dust bunnies, Deb. That's funny. But I think that was exactly it. That weighed me down physically.
Yeah. So you got to shake those dust bunnies off. Okay. So some of the things that I love to do to clear my dust bunnies is soaking in sea salts. Definitely nature. Nature is my healer, just like Jen mentioned it earlier. I've got to have alone time. Got to have alone time. All right. Yeah. So make sure you're taking that suppression, Jen. Okay. So, all right. Yeah. So any other questions? We've got about 2 minutes left for Jen. And in the meantime, please, please, please tell your friends about this book and tell them that today they can grab a copy on Amazon for 60% off, which is only $5.99 before it goes up to $14.95. And besides Jen's, she's going to share more, Sam and everybody, she's going to share more about this empath's journey, what that's been like, what she found out about herself along the way. Okay. Maureen says nature is key for her too. I think a lot of us that are empaths are naturally drawn to nature. I remember as a kid growing up in New York City in a big apartment complex, but I was always out. I did not want to be in. Yeah. I was looking for trees. And then finally my parents were able to, you're welcome. My parents were able to get a second home in the Pocono Mountains. And I loved being in the mountains, in the woods, and talking to fairies and finding, because I'm an earth empath, I started to just collect stones, not even knowing about crystals yet. I was a little kid. And I had affinity to the energy of all these stones, and I'm collecting them. And my parents are looking at me like, how many more rocks are you going to get? Now I have crystals and stones from all over the world. So, find what's going to work for you guys, find that and trust it. That is the key thing. You have got to trust it. So now Jen also wants to offer you guys some help, but to the first 5 people that follow what we're going to suggest. Jen readings, and she loves to help people, as you can see. Maureen says she was so busy she wasn't plugging into nature, that refusal. Yeah, and you fall apart, you get sick, your immune system goes down. This is why, I am charged. Okay, I'm going to be very careful what I say here, but you guys need the sunshine. and you need Mother Earth, okay? And you need salt, air, everything that's in the universe, everything God brought to us to keep your immune system strong. Wink, wink, okay? Deborah says she did the same thing, collecting stones for hours and by the woods and the pond. Yeah, I used to find this big rock. Any of you have a magical place? I know Jen does.
Oh,
She talks
yeah.
about it in her book. I used to find this big slate rock. There was a park in the Poconos I used to go to. And when we were younger, we were allowed to take off by ourselves. And I would go walking in this big state park, and there was a waterfall that I always went to. And at the bottom was a big stone slab. I was like an early teen, like 12, 13. I would lay on there, write poetry. I always had a journal, even back then. And it was like the waterfalls, the pine trees, everything spoke to me. It's magical. I know you're going to talk about your magical adventure with nature and with animals and all of that. So, guys, you need to go get your copies if you haven't gotten them. But Jen, you have a special offer, and you are offering to the first 5 people that go purchase the paperback today, take a screenshot and prove to us it was today. They're going to get a card reading. What does that mean?
I'll pull that person a card and I'll give them a reading on that card. I'll do a 1 card pull and give them like a card of the day.
And what is this card for those that don't know? What kind of
Angel
card?
Oracle, an Angel Oracle card, a guidance, soul purpose card, something to give them guidance in these times. I think it's important.
Yeah. So, like I have cards everywhere. So if those of you that don't know, Oracle cards, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Jen has the Oracle cards. That's what they're called, with messages. So for example, like right now, I can pull one for the group that's watching, okay? So for the first 5 people that go purchase a copy, the paperback copy, not the Kindle, the paperback copy, and you take a screenshot and you post it below, Jen's going to keep checking for you today, okay? And then she's going to get in touch with you. And there's her email. In case she didn't see it, you can email her and show her where you posted it, and she will give you a reading. Now, look what I just pulled, Jen.
Oh, yeah.
So this
and that's
is
actually the deck that I have in front of me too. I have that deck in front of me.
That's funny.
Yes.
This is the message that I just pulled for all of you right now. And this whole process of this book was surrendering to divine timing, including this date today was picked out months ago, everybody. It was divine timing. So here's what the message says, because I mentioned this earlier. Sometimes we can go up into our linear mind, right? Sometimes divine timing may differ from ego's timing. I got to tell you, most times it does, right? If a goal isn't manifesting fast enough, according to your ego, be patient and trust the universal flow. So for those that have been following me, this was all divinely timed. The title, the symbol, the people, and the date. And how do we get this done to #1 bestseller in 90 days? Divine timing. So trust your divine timing. And those of you, remember, go ahead. Deb says, you're all the treat. Jen is fabulous. Yes,
Thanks,
she is.
Deb. Taught by the best.
So go grab a copy. Remember, the first 5 people will get a card reading from Jen, okay? Kind of like pulling one of these and giving you a reading, but you must take a screenshot of your purchase today to qualify and post it down below. If for some reason Jen doesn't see it, here is her email. Go email and say, hey, I posted it. Go check it out because I want my card reading, okay? So I want to thank everybody for coming on and being here with us today and celebrating the #1 bestseller for all these amazing authors. And we have more coming up this afternoon and this evening that are going to tell you more about their stories. Jen, any last words for our viewers?
No, I think this is a book for everybody. I mean, everybody is going to make a connection. Such wonderful stories from my co-authors. And I just, this is a valuable piece right now for people to read.
I think that's the divine timing right there.
Mhm.
Valuable
Yes.
piece to uplift and give people hope again, because all these stories had some sort of challenge in life, and
Yes.
these authors found a way to make it through, and they're going to help you do the same. So Jen, thank you so much. I'm so
Thanks for
excited
having me.
for the future. I know you have book signing set up in
Mhm.
region of Pennsylvania, Delaware area. I know
Mhm.
you be in bookshops and crystal stores doing little things, and you've
Yes.
got presentations coming up. So go find Jen Cairo on Facebook and connect with her, support her mission, because we together stand strong. And Deborah saying, shine, Jen, shine. And we
Thanks,
all
Jen.
shine brighter when we help each other. Thanks again, Jen. Thank you all
Thank
for coming,
you.
comments, and we will see you again in a little while. Bye.
Bye.